What's going on, everybody? And yes, I know it's a little bit late, but I still got to give you my review on it. The Marvels. And I know what everybody's been saying about it, but I want to give you my perspective on it because my perspective is a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you why it's a little bit different because it ties into the first movie. But I haven't done this in a while. But to help me articulate what I'm about to say, I'm going to read the synopsis for the Marvels, and for the people who haven't seen it or might not know what the movie's about or on the fence about the movie. It says Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity. We'll get on that a little bit. From the tyrannical Kree and taking revenge on the supreme intelligence. However, unintended consequences see her shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. When her duties send her to an anonymous wormhole linked to the Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with two other superheroes to form the Marvels. Now, with that being said, the movie, for one, I would tell you right off the bat, I didn't like that the movie felt rushed, and the movie feels rushed. Like, we jumped straight into it. And the reason why I say I would touch on her reclaiming her identity was because that's literally one of the first things they rushed through. And by first things, I hope you picking up what I mean, like first thing. Like, that's one of the first things, like, if you get what I'm trying to say to you here, is that was one of the first things they touch upon. And I would say she reclaimed her identity, but there's more so she's still trying to figure out about herself. She's still, so I want to say she fully reclaimed it, because they just said she reclaimed her identity. They didn't say she partially reclaimed it or anything. So I'm telling you that she didn't. It's a partial reclaim. Not a fully reclaim, but a partial. This movie is basically a sequel, if you will, to not only Captain Marvel, but to, I guess you could say it's a sequel to a sequel bridge. I would put it that way. A sequel bridge between Ms. Marvel season 1 and Ms. Marvel season 2, if they do go ahead and make Ms. Marvel season 2, which has been rumored along with She-Hulk and Moon Knight that they're already getting a season 2. So if they do make a season 2 of the Ms. Marvel, this would be the bridge. This movie, The Marvels, is like a sequel, a direct sequel to Ms. Marvel, because it is what happens immediately after Ms. Marvel. As we saw, if you have seen Ms. Marvel, you know at the end of the movie at the end of the show, that she's basically switched places with Carol Danvers. And I would say that's the first thing I liked about this movie, was that whole sequence, how they ended Ms. Marvel with her switching places with Carol Danvers. That was basically a scene from the movie. They clipped in a scene from the movie, and that's how that was intended. It was intended to be basically Ms. Marvel ending was meant to show a clip of the Marvels, and then when you see the Marvels, you realize, oh, that's what that was. That was just basically the Marvels. And I wonder, because if you notice when you seen that, the actor who played Ms. Marvel, she looked a little different compared to how she looked in the show. Like, it looked like she was not a little bit older, but she lost a little bit of weight. Like, she looked like a little bit skinnier than she was in the show. And I wonder why she looked so different in that ending versus the show. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it, because she was, this is basically taken from when she was doing the Marvels movie. So I like that. I like that little connection there. But yeah, so the movie basically reintroduced us to Kamala Khan and reintroduced us. And when they introduce you, they do show you something else before that scene happens. with her and Carl getting switching places, and that's basically like her reintroduction is in the form of how her show went. It's like, her in her little imaginary world doing her little imaginary things. Then we get introduced to Carol, and then we introduced to Monica Rambeau. And the thing I like about her here is that this also tells you how long it's been since Westview and WandaVision, because Monica has used her powers. But pretty much from there's a situation with a wormhole caused by Darban, the villain of this movie, who was a gender swap. Because in the comics, Darban, and I did not just look this up before I did this video, but no, I'm kidding. I definitely looked this up before I did this video because I didn't know who Darban was. But the only thing I knew about Darban, which I did know she was going to be the villain of the movie, the only thing I didn't know was that she was gender swap. I didn't know nothing about Darban. I just knew it was a person from the comics, and that I knew that she was gender swap. I knew that Darban is originally a male in the comics, and that for the movie they made him a woman. And we're introduced to her. We're introduced to her plot and how why she's the villain, and that she has a key item that Kamala has been told to find. And you see that so it's basically not a spoiler because you see in the comments it's the other band, and we are told what the bands are called, and they are called quantum bands. Quantum. As in, it has something to do with the quantum realm. But and we are told that they are basically built to travel. They basically able to travel with them. I guess if you got both of them, you can travel through space, throughout all the space. They help create like the little wormhole spaces that they use to travel throughout space. That's all because of the quantum bands. And we're seeing, this is why I said this is not only a sequel to Captain Marvel, but to Miss Marvel, to WandaVision, because all of it plays an integral role in this movie. And Kamala being the biggest one. And for that, I would say another good thing I liked about this, so this is like, I'm just giving you my negatives and positives here, but I like Kamala's character in this movie. She's like the shining star of this movie. Her and her family. I like it. This made me like her even more. So the fact that she's getting a season 2, because most people I've been hearing has been saying, "Oh, I don't want She-Hulk or Miss Marvel to get a season 2." I actually, because of this movie, wanted to see a season 2 of Miss Marvel. But She-Hulk, no, I don't want to see a season 2 of that. Now, if you're gonna do She-Hulk the way you did She-Hulk, I don't want to see a season 2 of that. Not at all. But the Marvels, for the most part, it was bad. I'm not gonna say it was good. It was bad, but not a horrible like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 bad. But it was bad, and it was mostly because it was rushed. It was rushed. Now, what my opinion differs from most reviewers that you have seen is that most people said that it was boring, and that it was WOKE, and why it was WOKE, especially when it comes to like Nick Fury and all that type of stuff. Like, it was definitely WOKE, but I have to say it like that because YouTube, then it said this is not a political video, but it wasn't. Most people say it was that, and it was boring, and but I wouldn't say it was boring. Like I was bored out of my mind watching it. It was boring because it wasn't because of the way it was written and everything. But I actually did find myself at a couple of parts enjoying myself. So I won't say it was boring. Like it was that because it was rushed. It was boring. Boring for me. The boring part is a nitpick, but the real atrocity here is that it was rushed. I felt like if you took the proper time. This was a 2 hour time movie, and it was written well, and everybody was written the way they should be written, then it would have been a good thing. And most people were saying like the one thing they didn't like about Captain Marvel was that she was a cocky asshole like character who was unrelatable. But I'm not. But that's the thing. Newsflash, guys. I'm gonna break this to you. If anybody ever read the Captain Marvel comic books, you would know that that's actually her character. Like her being a cocky asshole is actually like them making her like that in the first movie is actually from the comics. She's a cocky asshole. Captain Marvel. That's the whole. The thing is the dynamic is good when you mix it with Captain America. That's what is missing. Like with her cockiness, it needs to run into people like Captain America and Iron Man because it plays well off of them. In the comics, it always played good when she rubbed against them because it always rubbed in the wrong way and pushed them off. But that's her. Captain Marvel was a cocky asshole in the comics. Now, the way they made her, the way they writ her, and the way they wanted it for that movie, for the Captain Marvel, was horrible. But it was horrible because of WOKE. And that's what made it unbearable. But for me, that was part of the course. Because I know Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel is a cocky superhero who often have to have her interactions with Captain America and Tony and the other heroes to level her head. But she's always a person who's because of her own strength, she just goes in and guns blazing and beat down because she believes her strength and power is what leads her to do it. So my thing is this: Captain Marvel is bad. The Marvels are bad, but you can't say that you want a comic book accurate version of Captain Marvel. You did get that with her cocky attitude. She's a cocky character, and that's what I want. I want to see the cocky, wisecracking character, not what they gave me in Captain Marvel. What they gave us in Captain Marvel was a WOKE version of the cocky character, but in the comic book, she was more of an action. She was like a female action hero. She was cocky, believed too much in her own power, that she couldn't be beat, and she was a wisecracker. We didn't get that in Captain Marvel. And my point I'm trying to make here is that in the Marvels, she's actually was written kind of better. Like I would say, if I had to pick which version to care about more between Captain Marvel and the Marvels version of Captain Marvel was more enjoyable. I actually enjoyed Brie Larson because they made her human. They humanized her, and the way they humanized her is by using Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan. And I have to say this. I have to use this word, but that's what I love. That's a thing I loved about this movie. Now I get it. Not nobody's used that word love when it comes to the Marvels, but I'm using that because I actually loved what they did with Kamala and Captain Marvel and Monica. They used both Monica Rambeau and Kamala to humanize and make her more relatable. Because now that she had that interaction, now that she got that interaction with two people that she inspired. Like, she inspired Monica. She inspired Kamala. And now she got this interaction humanized her because Kamala saw her as this god, this superhero that could do no wrong. And in her adventures with Captain Marvel, she begins to learn that she learns a lesson that she put too much stock and put Captain Marvel on the pedestal way too much, because she started to realize that Captain Marvel is not this person I put on this pedestal, is not this hero, this idol that I idolize. She's just a person like me who's flawed, who makes mistakes just like I do. And she even has a line where she said, I put you here and then realize you realize you're just a person. You're human just like me, and that's my fault. And she apologized to Captain Marvel for putting so much faith and putting her on this pedestal. And I like that they use that to heal Monica as well. Because then we get to learn Monica's part as I transition to Monica. Her role in this movie was that we found out that she's been avoiding Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's been trying to reconnect with her ever since she found out that Monica works with Sword, and that she's been wanting to reconnect, but Monica's been avoiding her. And then even Nick Fury tells her at some point you're going to have to talk to her, and she says she doesn't want to. And when they are forced to be in the same room together, she doesn't want to interact too much with her because she doesn't want to face her own past. And through her interaction with Captain Marvel and Kamala, and seeing how Kamala was once like her, it healed her as well. And we also found out why Captain Marvel, pretty much after the first movie, never went back. And we found out it had something to do with what they've been calling her, the Annihilator. And they've been calling her Captain Marvel the Annihilator for a reason. It had something to do with what she did in the first movie and the effects of what happened and the effects of that action in this movie. Overall, because I know it sounds messed up to say, but I enjoyed the acting for somewhat, but it was bad because it was rushed. But I enjoyed that this version of Captain Marvel was more likable than this one. I would choose her if we're going to go forward to trying to actually make Captain Marvel a character that everybody could enjoy and start enjoying her movies. This is the version I would build from because she's more human in this. She's more likable in this. She's not as likable in the first one, but she's more likable and more human in this one. Therefore, I like it. But it's still was that enough to turn the tide? No, this movie was still horrible by all standards because the writing, the story itself, the writing, the lackluster villain like Darban, and I haven't really touched on Darban because that's how bad she was. She was the worst villain I ever seen in a movie because I didn't give a crap about what she was doing. I honestly would tell you this, guys. I care more about what was going on between Monica, Captain Marvel, and Kamala in their situation than I actually did while she was a villain. There's also a part in there that I can see why people say it was annoying, and you'll know when you see it. Because I'm like, yeah, that people said that part of the movie is going to piss you off and make you aggravated, and I'm like, yeah. But I would say after seeing it, it wasn't that bad because you only have to suffer through it for a little bit, and then due to the fact that a character is bilingual, and they actually use that in the movie, bilingual, we don't have to suffer through that too much. There's a post-credit scene, or I would say it's a mid-credit scene, and then there is a post-credit scene, but it's just a sound bite. The post-credit scene is just a sound bite of the cat spitting out somebody, so that I'm just, just so you don't have to stay to see an extra scene. It's not a real scene, it's just a sound bite of the cat spitting up or swallowing somebody. But the mid-credit scene is the ones you need to see because it deals with the ending of the movie and what happens to a certain character of that movie and where we could possibly go from here. And I will say this, because of what we learned in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness and what this mid-credit scene is and what the implications of it, I would say that the rumors of what's going to happen in Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty is looking more and more true. Okay, it looks like we are heading to the destruction of the multiverse. But with that being said, I'm going to give the Marvels. I got to do it. I'm going to give the Marvels a 6 out of 10 big ups because That's it. The cap, like, and I will be honest here. It's almost the same. It's the same thing I gave the Marvels. I mean, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was a 6 for me, and I actually brought it on DVD. I actually had the Marvels on DVD, and I'm going to be I mean, not the Marvels, but Captain Marvel on DVD. And I'm going to be buying the Marvels on DVD because they're bad, but they're not that bad to me anyway. It's bad, but it's not bad enough where I can maybe once in a while, because I'm the type of person who like to have movie marathons. So if I got a collection of movies, I would sit there and watch every movie in order. In case like Fast and the Furious, I would watch them in chronological order. Like I would watch Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. I would skip Fast and the Furious 3 Tokyo Drift because Tokyo Drift basically takes place before Fast and the Furious 6, or it leads into it. So I watch like Fast 4, Fast 5, and then I will watch Tokyo Drift, and then Part 6, 7, and so on and so on. Or no, I think, do it take place? No, I think Part 6 is before Part 7. I mean, Part 6 is before Part 3, and then Part 3, and then Part 7. You get the point. When I have movies like that, I would like to watch it, and I can actually see myself rewatching Captain Marvel and the Marvels. I haven't watched Captain Marvel in a long time, but I can see myself watching it, you know. So, in order, if I have like a collection of movies, and I do have a collection of Marvel comic book movies. So, with that being said, yep, a 6 out of 10. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what you thought, and if you enjoyed my review of it, you know what to do. You hit this button right there for all of my movie reviews. I almost forgot the word there. And if you enjoyed the video so much, you want to support the channel, you know what to do, guys. Hit those buttons, and as always, hitting one of these videos for more amazing content. And yeah, you would like that mid-credit scene. It's probably one of the best things of the movies, that mid-credit scene, and because it gives hint to a certain team. Peace.